I'm really excited about this next session. It's one of my personal favourite topics because I can see the potential in it so much. And it applies to anybody that is developing a product that needs a brand, that's selling it to a consumer brand. And so it gives me great pleasure to invite to the stage Tomas Vucurevic from Brained. Did I get your surname right?
No, but I'm used to it. So, after the coffee break, getting people back into the room. My name is Tomas Vucurevic. Thanks, Paul, for the friendship and also the invitation to speak today. I'm the founder, managing director of Brained. We are brand strategy consulting firm specialized on ingredient branding. And if you don't know yet what that means, just go through the morning sessions. Everybody was talking somehow about interesting brand concepts. We heard about consumer demand in the very opening speech from Mike. Amsilk, which is also one of our clients, talked about their approach, Modern Meadows, and many others. So what we try to do is we help innovators to extract more value out of their innovation through branding, and in that case, mainly ingredient branding. And how do you get more value out of your sustainable innovation? We also heard about the times are over for capsule collection and kind of PR pieces. So I have a $100 T-shirt as an example, which symbolizes a little bit what is happening in the market. But in most of the value chains that I know, most suppliers are not getting a fair value for the innovation they bring into, because that innovation is often unknown and unseen to the final user. So if we take a $100 T-shirt, could be also a $10, it doesn't matter, then 90% of that value goes to the brands and to the retailers. And around 10% of the value remains with everybody else. This is so-called landed costs. And usually if you're a supplier of a material, you are playing in this game, in the zero position. What you do is not known and not seen to the people who are paying $100 or $10 for that T-shirt. But your ingredient, your material might just bring that value to that shirt so that you can get $100 because you give a certain performance or you give a certain purpose to that product. And what we try to do is with our clients that we help them that they create their own brand so they get more value for their innovation by making it seen, but also their customers get more value because they sell out more of those products, maybe for a higher price. We discussed that in the panel before. Maybe not for a higher price, but maybe for a better sell-through or for less reduction. And the retailers are happy about it, and finally the consumers should also like that idea. And how you can do that is by understanding that by making your material, your ingredient, your sustainable innovation known and attractive to the end user. We heard that word before. By creating a pull on your material, on your ingredient, with one or two players further down in the demand chain than your direct customers. By that, you're making it known and attractive to the end user, and with these what I call next generation ingredient brands, you do not only deliver a material, but you help brands to achieve their sustainability goals. And a lot of the companies, fast fashion, for example, Zara, H&M, they're under enormous pressure. They have to deliver every day against the sustainability, the SDGs they have defined for themselves. And here are you coming with that material, and that material might be a great talking piece for the brands to prove how they work on achieving their SDGs, be it environmental, be it social or be it governance. So it can also be things around transparency, so that you have, as we heard from Modern Meadows, LCA analysis, you provide the whole data to the brands, and by that you give them authority to reach or prove their targets, and you have to get paid for that value. You don't have to get paid only for the material you deliver, and you will only get paid or get into a better business situation with them if a target audience, which at the end needs to be the consumers, know and understand the value that you are delivering into the end product. And I've put together, because we don't have so much time, like 5 things that I believe are very important if you want to build such a model up, where you're starting to create a pull and then support the push activities that you are anyway doing on the B2B side. The first point, and maybe not a technical one, but more a mindset one, is you have to get out of the role of a supplier in your head. And with that, that's not disrespectful to the role of a supplier. I mean, it's great to be a supplier if you run your business on a cost leadership model or on an operational excellence model, or both, particularly if you're located in Europe. You need to deliver huge volumes in high stable quality and quantity out, and you're getting paid for that, and that's probably fine. But if you want to build a brand, you have to act and start thinking like a brand and not like a supplier. I know from many of our customers, it often starts in the sales departments. They say, oh, we want to be an ingredient brand, let's talk to our customers. They go to their customers and say, oh, dear customer, we want to establish an ingredient brand. The customer says, are you nuts? We don't want you to build an ingredient brand. They come home and say, oh, the customers say we don't want to have an ingredient brand. End of the story. It doesn't work like that. You need to generate a pull. I don't know a single ingredient brand that has been built up long-term and successfully that was not able to generate a certain amount of pull. So now where we generate that pull depends. A lot of the companies coming to us said, oh, we want to be like Gore-Tex, or we want to be the next Intel inside, but we don't have so much money. And then we're saying, okay, but if you look at Gore-Tex, and we'll look in a moment on that case, is you should not look at Gore-Tex as it is today. You would need to look at Gore-Tex, what have they done in 1989 or in 1985 when they started, in order to get where they are today. And that is, they have stopped thinking like a supplier. They started to think like a brand. And what that means is you have to start to think in end products. I mean, at the end, you have to start about the consumer. You want to buy your products, and then you go back to the end products you want your customers to make out of your material, and then you go back to your customers, and then you go to the converters, and then you go to whatever who's upstream in your supply chain. So this is another example from us. Econyl, it's owned by, it's an Italian company called Aquafil. They make a recycled nylon, and the recycled nylon is, after tap water, probably the biggest commodity, and white yogurt, right? So, and recycled nylon is nothing special. We built that brand in 2012. One of the feedstocks at that time was discarded fish nets. I didn't know that fish nets were discarded. I didn't know the impact discarded fish nets have on the environment. I didn't know how much of that was swimming in the ocean. I just knew that's the gold nugget, and we're going to build a story around that. And they were the first, and you also have to be the first. In 2012, we put all the eggs in one basket, and we built that Econyl brand around, collecting discarded fish nets and depolymerizing them and bringing them into the product. So now I go to a fabric show, and there are 500 Chinese nylon manufacturers who say we're made from discarded fish nets, because they don't understand branding. It's not only that you say you're made from discarded fish nets, but, and by the way, Gucci and Prada will say, hey guys, that story is told. So if you're now coming 2022 and say, I'm from discarded fish nets, they say, thank you. What else do you have to tell? Because we told the story of the discarded fishnets with Econyl. And Econyl built on that a brand audience and owns now that space. So if you want to conquer their space, you have to tell a better story. And if you do that well, you end up with a statement like this on the Business Vogue that they say how Econyl became fashion's favorite eco-friendly material. So start to think like a brand. The next thing, which is the core of our work when we work with the customer, is to develop a unique brand promise. So not your product features. What are you promising? What are you promising to the end user of your product? This is probably the most comprehensive brand promise we know. It reads easy, guaranteed to keep you dry. If you open that hang tag, there is a long text and it says, if you're not completely satisfied with the waterproofness, windproofness, or breathability of this product, we will repair, replace it, or give you your money back. So the ingredient manufacturer who makes a rolled good laminate, selling it to Mammut, Patagonia, and Arc'teryx, promises to the consumer a comprehensive satisfaction guarantee. If you do that, then you have to set up your entire organization in a completely different way. Starting with if somebody calls you and says, oh, I would like to take advantage of your guarantee. Somebody needs to pick up the phone. Somebody needs to check the garment and so. Well, that is a very comprehensive brand promise. Not everybody needs to do that. You can also say Intel inside. That is, at the end of the day, a pretty weak brand promise. You're just saying that your component is in it. You're not saying what it's doing. You're not saying what it's promising. But they did that with their large marketing and media communication. They did. So define a brand promise towards the end user of your product. That is what you get from me. We worked for Polygiene from Sweden. It's antimicrobial protection, helps you to wear your garments longer. And the majority of the producers of that stuff, they are calling it, this is our anti-stink technology. Who the hell wants to be anti-stink? Who the hell wants to be reminded that he stinks? Right? So that has nothing to do with branding. That's product marketing. Right? If you want to build a brand, like we did for Polygiene, we said, okay, if I stink less, I need to wash less my garment, then I need to use less water and less detergent, and then I'm a good citizen, and then the brand promise is Polygiene for a mindful living. So if you, Paul, want to live a mindful living, buy our products, you can wear them longer, you wash them less, and by that, you can contribute to a better world. That's a brand promise. Product promise is anti-stink. If you have such a brand promise, as I said, then you have to institutionalize your ingredient brand from that perspective. Here, 9 out of 10 people talking to us step out because they believe they can handle it on a case-by-case base, on a customer-by-customer base. So we would discuss with Levi's, with Adidas, with On, with whoever, would you like maybe to use our ingredient brand? No, okay, you can also use it without. We can also sell unbranded to you. Or you can also call it whatever you want because I have to make my numbers, I have to reach my quarterly results, and our EBITDA has to grow, and so on. So if you don't institutionalize your ingredient branding with contracts, with trademark license agreements, with providing all the help and support, to the customers to bring those products to life, then you will fail. Because if you work with diesel, and somebody says to the diesel brand manager, hey, you have to put somehow a label on that jeans, because we discussed that with that guy, and he said, no. What are you going to do then? Right? You have to go back and say, this is our contract, you agreed on it, you signed it, and you have to do it. So it's not something that you discuss like a co-branding activity, McDonald's and KitKat, let's sell for 1 month together soft ice. If you do ingredient branding, this is a long-term, multiple-year collaboration, where you want to have a big share of the collection, as we heard from Modern Meadows. You know, it's not one bag, it's all the bags, it's the whole collection, different styles, different colors. And then you come in there bold. So you have to set up your business in the right way. When you do that, so you have created your brand promise, you set up your organization, you start to communicate, and you have to build your own audience. And that does not happen overnight. The companies are saying, yeah, we don't have millions of euros for advertising communication, and how do we do that? You know, at the beginning, it's like the virus. You know, you need to find the super spreaders, right? You need to find those people who came from China and brought the COVID virus to Europe. You know, the super spreaders, those are the people who will make your ingredient brand known. This could be journalists, this could be industry experts, this could be the World Biomarket Conference where you speak, this could be all kinds of things. It doesn't need to be large advertising, but you need to get to those people who say, ah, interesting. You know, and then you start to grow the interest that the people start to knock on the brand's door and say, are you actually using this material? Are you actually using that material? We've heard about this. Are you using that? And slowly you come in. And when you build that audience, then you protect your innovation. Because honestly, Gore-Tex is a 40-year-old product. Econyl is a recycled nylon. And Tencel is just a lyocell product. So Tencel is not a better product in terms of performance. You know, there might be better waterproof, breathable alternatives to Gore-Tex on the market, where somebody invented in a lab. You know, but also Nikola Tesla, which is from our region, died very poor in a hotel room, and he invented half of the modern world that we are using today. And Elon Musk didn't invent anything and became the richest man in the world. Right? Because innovation means invention plus successful commercialization. You know, the inventors are the Dr. Düsentrieb that are sitting in the lab and inventing stuff. If you don't commercialize it successfully, that's why this conference is for, then you're not going to make it. So you need to have your own audience. And if now somebody comes and says, I also have recycled nylon from fishnets, I also have waterproof, breathable fabric, I also have sustainable lyocell. But then the consumers and maybe the retailers and the journalists would say, yeah, but there is already Gore-Tex, there is already Econyl, there is already Tencel, there is already Lycra. And they own the mind space of the consumers. And that makes you very, very strong against competition, particularly if you have a commodity product. And the last point of that conference, because it is about commercialization and about scaling, at the end of the day, as an ingredient, when you build that brand, you give back to your customers by helping them to sell out the products that they make with your ingredient. I established the first e-commerce shop of an ingredient brand, I think worldwide, 2005. We started to do an online shop on the Gore-Tex website where we were displaying products made by our customers, because our fans came to our site, to Gore-Tex.com, and they said, what products can I buy? And we showed them the products of our customers, and at that time you still had to either go back to their website and so on. Now you can create a marketplace where you can directly purchase the goods made from your material on your own site. In this case, it's from Tencel. You can see here, it's their website, this is the main navigation. They have a point where to buy. So if I click where to buy, it gives 219, right? So they have thousands of licensees, and this is constantly growing. So they have 219 brands on their website, and then divided by denim, active, intimate, home, luxe, footwear, and this is when you are becoming successful. You're not becoming successful as an ingredient brand if you make exclusivity agreements. Because the brands, they always want exclusivity agreements. Why? Because that's what they learned in business school, or that's what their bosses told them. Because they have a strong brand, they want to have exclusivity. But as long as a sustainable technology is only offered by one brand, it will not be perceived as a real innovation. It will be perceived as a marketing activity. The more brands are using that material in different applications, in different performance levels, at different price points, the more this ingredient will become like a seal of quality, a seal of trust, where people say, they are using it. Okay, they're also using it, and they're also using it. And then sometimes we have to also educate the brands to let go on these exclusivity agreements. Because there's always this taste of, okay, they're the only one who are offering that. Is that really true? I'm through. Paul, time goes quickly with his 20 minutes. I have one last thing which I have to share with you. When you build that brand, you have to be aware of one thing. Your brand is everything you do that is not the product itself. So don't mix up product marketing and branding. And if you look at this plant-based, you all know the story from Beyond Meat and probably also Impossible Burger. Particularly if you create a new category, if you're the only one, and if you're the one who is developing that category, make sure you develop a unique brand and differentiating brand, and you are not only promoting the category itself, right? So Beyond Meat was plant-based food, and they were the only one, and they were in Burger King, they were in all of those applications, and they were hailed. Their stock went through the sky. Now it went back into the ground. But from my perspective, they probably didn't carve out enough that make Beyond Meat a loved brand. Use that time while they've built this brand to say, we are Beyond Meat. We are not only plant-based meat. We are the goddamn best plant-based meat, or the most sexy, or the most beautiful. So use that time when you are alone to build a proprietary position for yourself, and don't be only the category catalyst to make that new material known to the world. Thank you.